Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to my daily reflection on Monday, April 20th. This morning I was going down an old memory lane looking at some old articles that I had written for The Horn, and I found this one from February 2010. While only a decade ago, it seems like a lifetime ago. Here's what I wrote. Paul's image to the Corinthians that the church is like a body with arms, legs, eyes, each having a role to play, gets played out in our lives here at Shepherd of the Hills as well. I've shared this story with some of you, but I feel it's a great story to retell. As we were finishing our confirmation class on a recent Wednesday evening, one of the kids asked if we could hold a bake sale to raise money for Haiti relief. You may remember that Haiti had a devastating hurricane earlier in life. There was general excitement in the room now about how we could make a difference in the lives that were shattered and changed forever. I'm excited to see what will happen when the 11 students set out their goodies for sale on Sunday, January 31st, 2010. I'll anticipate an outpouring of support for their efforts, just as I've already seen an outpouring of support of the initial offering Sunday as we raised $1,650, and the amount of stuff collected for the Lutheran World Relief Health Kits. The body of Christ working together as eyes saw a need and hands and feet are responding with action. But there's more to the way these 7th and 8th graders behave as the body of Christ. Early on a recent Saturday, 5 of the Gassers headed to the Sugar Bowl for a day of skiing. Jim Pena took us in his vehicle, giving us a safe and secure travel experience. Jim is well versed in traveling to the mountains in the winter, as he enjoys his frequent ski days. 4 of the kids, I think they were Courtney Barton, Madeline Carpenter, Sarah Elliott, and Nate Krause, headed off for lessons. Some for the first time to put on skis or a snowboard, while the experienced Tony Pena headed off for the more challenging runs with his dad. As the lessons ended, we all gathered in the lodge for warmth and food. As lunch finished, Tony headed off to the beginner hills with his newly trained ski buddies. The experienced hand or feet working with those who were just learning the slopes. I watched as this group celebrated their friendship with runs down the hills, working and playing together as a part of the larger body of Christ. Indeed, there are some parts of the church's body at work, minds and hands acting to help heal hurts, smiles and laughter and recreation. May we direct our movement toward discovering and fulfilling God's directions for us. What was the end of the article? As I read that, I don't know why God chose February 2010 for me to read this morning, but as I read that, I was back on the slopes, bundled up nice and warm. I was in the rental center, getting a little toasty with all the heat going on there. I was sitting by the fire in the lodge, reading my book, now having taken off my jacket and gloves. Then I was back outside, bundled up again, watching the lessons, and back again outside, watching the group come down the slope together. I recall the joy that group experienced. I also remember thinking back then and now of the sacrifice Tony made that day. He was, and I suspect still is, an accomplished skier. Yet he put aside his desires and joined with a group of rookies. I never asked him why he did what he did that day, but I do believe he knew it was more important for him to be with his friends, even if he had to work on a simpler level. Today there's lots of talk about opening up again, getting back to work, and that the cure for COVID shouldn't be worse than the disease. Yet it seems to me that we're still learning how to flatten this curve and keep COVID-19 at bay. We've managed to get our lesson about staying at home, and now we have to move from the lesson slope to the beginner slope. We have to put into practice that which we've learned: isolation, social distancing, taking care of one another. Now we also have to sacrifice our desire to race down the slope and join with those who are just learning. Now we have to do something more than make a difference so that other lives may not be shattered. I know that I had plans, and still do have some plans for the summer. I had plans for today. I was to be sitting on the third base side at Sutter Health Park as the River Cats played a game this afternoon beginning at 12:30. As I'm starting this speech, first pitch would have been taking place. That was part of your gift to me for my service here at Shepherd of the Hills. It's on hold. I had another baseball trip planned for July as I was heading down to Arizona for a leadership conference. The conference has now been canceled, as well as the games that I wanted to go and see. I wanted to be able to move around, to go places, to do things, to play golf. Instead, I'm self-isolating at home and in the office. I was excited about what might be the case when I started planning this back in February of this year. Now I'm concerned about how my actions will affect others. Just as Tony was willing to sacrifice his want to fly down the advanced slopes and he joined friends so that together they could enjoy the day, I too will continue to do that social distancing. I'll continue to stay at home and come to the office behind a closed door. Come to the office so that mail can be delivered, your offerings can be given. I'll continue to do those things so that someday we can enjoy the day together. So that someday we will race down an advanced hill called life and celebrate with all of the fullness. But until then, we'll stay the course. Like Tony, let's stay in the beginner slopes. Let's stay home. Let's make the difference. I do look forward to seeing you on Sunday. It's been great to see your pictures here. Some of you have sent in new pictures of you in masks, and that's good news. They're posted as well. And I want you to remember, please wash your hands 20 seconds at a time, multiple times a day. Stay home if you're sick. Love one another. Continue to practice that important social distancing. And of course, let's be careful.